Good evening and welcome to Celebrate Recovery here at the Common Table Online. I am Zach. I'm the ministry leader for Celebrate Recovery here in the Urbana area. I'm so glad that we get another opportunity to be together tonight here virtually. We're months into COVID-19 and being forced to go virtual, but I have been enjoying every Thursday evening with all of you, and I'm so glad that we're here together again. As you get settled in, please make use of all the functions here at Common Table Online. Click on the Notes tab if you want some more information on Celebrate Recovery or contact information. Go ahead and click the live prayer button if you have a private prayer request or if you want to have an opportunity for private prayer with one of the Celebrate Recovery ministry leaders. Join in the chat that's going on if you want to engage with us. And then lastly, after we're done with this message, we'll pivot over to Zoom and have our men and women's open share groups where it's an opportunity and a time to have a safe and confidential conversation about what's been going on in your lives, where we can be present together and know that we are progressing and moving forward together. Tonight, I want to spend some time talking about something that I think is vital and important in our growth and recovery, and that is being uncomfortable and how a willingness to be uncomfortable opens us up for progress and growth and taking the next step in our growth and recovery. But before we get too far into it, let's go to God. Let's center our hearts and minds as we go to God in a time of worship and music.
Water you turned into wine and opened the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you, none like you. And into the darkness you shine, and out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, and into the darkness you shine, and out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stand Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? Then what could stand against? Then what could stand against? Again the wind is raging, but I will not be shaken, for I know who's in control. The greater one within me is more than once against me. He's in control, for I know He'll see me through like before. He is Lord, He is Lord. I'm not afraid anymore. He is Lord, He is Lord. The one who holds tomorrow is calling me to follow, heart and soul. I will go. The maker of the promise will finish what He started, heart and soul. I will go. He'll see me through like before. He is Lord, He is Lord. I'm not afraid anymore. He is Lord, He is Lord. And at His name the mountains bow. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. And with a shout the walls come down. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. And at His name the mountains bow. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. And with a shout the walls come down. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. Oh, He'll see me through like before. He is Lord, He is Lord.
I am a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I struggle with my desire for perfection, my pride, and symptoms of depression, and my name is Zach. The author Neil Donald Walsh once wrote, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. The fifth principle of Celebrate Recovery says, voluntarily submit to any and all changes God wants to make in my life and humbly ask Him to remove my character defects. Change is uncomfortable for us. Even when we're suffering, in pain, or we feel stuck, change can be uncomfortable, even when we know that change may be good for us. There's comfort for us in complacency and comfort in the known in our lives. Change brings with it the unknown, and that can be very uncomfortable. Let's think about this in terms that we've probably all been familiar with. Just thinking about something that we've probably all tried at one point or another or multiple times, and that is dieting. I know my current diet is unhealthy. I know I don't exercise enough, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. I know that my current diet is unhealthy and is not the ideal diet. I feel like I want to have a change with my diet, but my current diet, the things that I eat are comfortable to me. I enjoy them. I find comfortable. It's quick and easy. I don't have to think about it. Right? I find comfort in what I eat now. And when I think about the idea of dieting, I think, wow, that's going to be really complicated. And it's going to take a lot of planning and preparation if I want to do it right. And I'm going to have to set aside time. I'm going to have to plan it out. And for me, when it comes to dieting, I'm comfortable where I am, even though I don't like where I am, and I wish I could be in a healthier place. A diet's purpose is to bring about change for me, right? And that change, in my mind, is incredibly uncomfortable. I have to stop doing certain things that may be the quick and easy way of doing it, and I have to start doing things that take more time and are more difficult, and I have to focus energy and thought into it. And I have to put an end to certain behaviors and change those behaviors and unlearn habits that I have. It is similar in most areas of change for us. In order to make our way to lasting and impactful change, we have to become willing to be uncomfortable and live for a while in that discomfort. If we're unwilling to take steps to make a change, and if we're unwilling to be uncomfortable, we're just going to continue to act out our learned behaviors the way that we're living now. We'll continue the unhealthy habits we have in life or ways of thinking that we've formed and the way we operate. Thinking about change and stepping into the unknown and being uncomfortable, taking that next step, where do trust, hope, and faith come into play in that unknown? Well, you see, when we're getting ready to go through change and we're stepping out into the unknown, we can trust that good will come because of our higher power. That even if there are challenges, we're going to be in a better place at the end of the journey. We can hope for better. We can hope for more, for healing, for awareness, for strength, for courage, for wisdom. And as we trust and we hope, we can have faith. And it's because of our faith that we can trust and hope. We can have faith that if we focus on the truth, we will be following God's path for us. That if we face hardship, we can do it knowing and accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. We know that through our discomfort and being uncomfortable and these challenges and steps that may be difficult, the end is going to be better for us. And as we progress, as we take these steps, we're going to grow, we're going to heal, we're going to recover. Here's the thing. Recovery is pretty uncomfortable, isn't it? Whatever you're in recovery for, whatever you're trying to grow through and progress through, it can be pretty uncomfortable. Let's just think about Celebrate Recovery and your Celebrate Recovery group for a second. We can probably all admit that the first time we went to visit the Celebrate Recovery, it was really scary and awkward. To speak for the first time, or open up in a share group, or introduce ourselves for the first time, to read something aloud to the group, to do many of these things, they were uncomfortable. They were scary. We weren't sure what was going to happen. Heck, I'm still uncomfortable being on camera, and we're how many months into this COVID-19 social distancing? I am still uncomfortable making these videos each week and being in front of all of you each week. But how much have I grown because of my willingness to be uncomfortable? How much have I grown after those moments where I've stepped out of my comfort zone and been uncomfortable and taken a harder step than remaining complacent and staying where I am? Being uncomfortable, shaking a little, sweating it out, being nervous. How much has a willingness to do those things opened me up for growth, for progress, for more recovery? 2 Timothy 1:7 tells us, "For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." As we go over to Carol to lead us through the Serenity Prayer, I want you to read the words and think about how they may help us find a willingness to be a little bit more uncomfortable and take the next step. Carol?
Hi, everyone. I am a grateful believer in Jesus Christ who struggles with depression, anxiety, and being the daughter of an alcoholic. My name is Carol. Please join with me now as I read the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen.
Thank you, Carol. I have a habit of blowing things out of proportion. That's just my nature. I make big things out of little things. I overanalyze and I overthink. I get nervous a lot of the time, and I have a lot of struggle with anxiety, thinking that something awful is going to happen. And I have this temptation to stay in my comfort zone and stay within the things I can control and do what makes me feel comfortable, and maybe at times what makes me feel good. Growth and recovery aren't about staying in our comfort zone. They're not about that temptation to stay where we are and be complacent and just have an unwillingness to venture into the unknown. Growth and recovery are about progression, about taking the next step. And at Celebrate Recovery, we focus on the importance of faith in taking that next step and knowing that no matter what happens, God's got our back through this. He's going to be right there with us as we progress. We have our higher power there walking alongside us on these difficult and challenging steps, being uncomfortable. Growth and recovery are about taking steps, facing uncertainty, having faith, and building hope and trust that we will be okay at the end of it, that good things are in store for us. I'm involved right now on Wednesday nights in a really powerful and impactful conversation in small group where we're talking about racial reconciliation within the church and bridging a divide that segregation and racism have created in our culture. And one of the aspects that we talk about in this study is a willingness to be uncomfortable and how important that willingness is to bridge the divide and to make connection. Because I can stay comfortable in my little home and not venture out and engage with people and just be naive in my thinking that the world around me is fine and okay. And if I'm not facing a problem, there's not a big deal. But I've got to find a willingness to be uncomfortable and go out and engage and get involved with things so that I can raise my awareness and find out what's on the other side, what other people's point of view is, what struggles others are going through, and how my willingness to be a bit uncomfortable makes connection and makes reconciliation that much more attainable. A great civil rights leader and minister, Benjamin Mays, once said, "The tragedy of life is often not in our failure, but rather in our complacency. Not in our doing too much, but rather in our doing too little. Not in our living above our ability, but rather in our living below our capacities." You see, if we stay in our comfort zone, if we're complacent, we'll live below what we're capable of. We'll stay in a place where we may be stuck. We won't progress. But if we make use of those capabilities and what capacity God's placed in our life, we might open ourselves up to something bigger and better. If you feel like you're struggling with complacency or not feeling able to step out of your comfort zone, let someone that you trust know. This is where an accountability partner, a sponsor, are essential in our growth and recovery, because that person that you trust and has your best interests in heart can help challenge you, hold you accountable, open you up to areas where you might be stuck in your comfort zone, where we may be stuck in our complacency. Sometimes we need someone close to us to help raise our awareness and open our minds and hearts to something that we just are living in denial about. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. And if we back up a second, just before this verse, it says, "I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God which is in you." I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God which is in you. For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power. I pray that we all find more willingness to be uncomfortable. Because as we read at the beginning, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. May we be willing to be uncomfortable together and to find hope, healing, growth, and recovery together. Thank you for letting me share. Go with God.